Hi, welcome to Mrs. Darnell's Flipped Classroom. I hope you find these videos very useful. I would also like to take a moment to welcome you to Kennedy Middle School. We look forward to a fantastic school year. As a science teacher and also as Kennedy is an avid demonstration school, we try to run all of our classrooms as an avid classroom. One of the ways that science does that is through the use of the interactive science notebook. It's a wonderful tool for your student, um, and we use a lot of the AVID principles as well as just good solid study principles in the notebook. And so I'd like to talk to you about that today, about how to set that up. Okay, so what are interactive science notebooks? They are a thinking tool. They are a way to organize questions, organize what your student is learning. They are a way to access, and the big thing here is process the learning through a variety of ways, through writing, through drawing, through discussion. It's a place to write rough drafts based on hands-on learning. And it's a great formative assessment tool for the teacher. And what this means is that as a teacher, as your students are processing the science information, I can walk around and take a look and see if your students are actually truly understanding the science concept. Why do we use them? Well, those interactive notebooks help your student organize skills, organize their critical thinking skills, and it allows them to really be able to express their understanding of the science concepts in any way they choose, whether it be through writing or through drawing. So why are we using those? Everything that we do in science class is going to be included into that interactive science notebooks. We're going to record data from labs that we do. We're going to use this as a way to study for tests. We're going to be able to record our progress and see our learning. We're going to be able to use it as a tool for communicating with the teacher and with other students. So really everything that you do, from notes to assignments to labs, is all going to be included in that interactive notebook. Research, of course, shows that student understanding and literacy skills do improve when students do hands-on, minds-on science, and you help use that science notebook as a way to make sense of all of their different science investigations. And so, of course, this research helps back up what we know to be true in the classroom, that these interactive science notebooks work. Sorry about that. Okay, so in order to use your interactive notebook, first we have to set it up. You're going to need some different supplies in order to do this. First of all, you're going to need a spiral notebook. You may need glue or a glue stick, or maybe even tape, some scissors, some pens and pencils, and colored pencils. Okay, so let's talk first about the basis of the interactive notebook. Of course, when you're looking at a notebook, you have a right side and a left side. So what goes where? Well, I'm going to start with the right side because this is what the teacher, whoever your teacher might be, is giving you. That is going to be your teacher input or the content. So information the teacher gives you in class, lecture notes, the actual lab activity, maybe you're watching a video and your teacher's asked you to take notes on the video. That would go on the right side. Summaries, which we will talk about later because, of course, as an AVID demonstration school, we also use Cornell Notes. And so those lecture notes and those summaries do have their own specific guidelines. If you're asked to take notes from the textbook, any procedures for experiment, or classroom-specific information. So again, this right side is anything that the teacher gives you. Now, on the left side, that's where the student comes into play. That is the student output. So on this left side, I want to see color, I want to see drawings, I want to see diagrams, I want to see anything that helps your student understand the material better. So maybe that's a concept map, and I'm going to show you some examples of those. Maybe it's a drawing. Maybe your student does best through reflective writing. Maybe your student has a question, and so writing that question on the right-hand side. If there are data and graphs to go along with that lab activity, those would go on the left side because that is something that your student is producing. Maybe they want to turn the notes into a song or into a poem, or maybe even a cartoon, something even more creative. So this left side is really all about what the student is doing and what they are getting out of the material. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about the left side. And here are some guiding questions to help you think about it. What are you curious about? What would you like to test? What was the main idea? What are the important details to remember? How does this relate to your life? What don't you understand? So these are all things that you as the student can think about to put on that left-hand side of your spiral notebook. All of it based, of course, on the right-hand side, what the teacher is giving you. Okay, so let's get started. First step, let's make sure that on the cover you put your name and your period number. If you want to draw something about science, go right ahead. Make it more creative. Make it more about you. If you want to take a couple of minutes to do that, go ahead and press pause. Okay, step 2. Starting with the first page, we're going to number the pages till the end of the notebook. They should be small and at the top outside corner of every page, just like shown in the picture. So you've got your cover of the notebook, and then you've got page 1. The back of page 1 will be 2. The next page will be 3. The back of page 3 will be 4. And so we're going to see a pattern setting up here. All of those pages on the right-hand side, your right-hand side are going to be odd numbers. All the pages on the left-hand side are going to be even. Now this is going to take a couple of minutes. I'm going to keep going, but you go ahead and press pause while you finish numbering your notebook. Now, let's throw in a table of contents. One of the big areas of importance with our interactive notebook is making sure that we learn proper organizational skills. So what better way to organize the material in our interactive notebook than to have a table of contents? So let's go ahead and set that up now. This way, every time we add something to our notebook, we can add it to our table of contents. And so we always know where it is, where that assignment is, where those notes are. Okay, so if you take a look on the tops of page 3, 4, and 5, I know we've skipped 1 and 2. That's okay. We're going to come back to those. On pages 3, 4, and 5, you're going to write table of contents across the top. You're going to divide each page into 4 columns. One column being the date, the next one the description, page number, and then grade. So this table of contents is really going to help us out. We're going to know the date that we did the assignment, the name of the assignment, the page where we can find the assignment, and as our teacher grades things throughout the year, we can check off or write the grade that we received. So again, organization. Okay, again, I'm going to keep going. Go ahead and press pause so that you can get those table of contents set up. Now, one of the big things about that interactive notebook, of course, is the left-hand side of the notebook, processing all of the information that the teacher has given you. And again, however you want to do that is fine, whether you want to do that by the use of a concept map, drawing a picture, summarizing, writing questions, that are poems, songs, cartoons, all of that is entirely up to you. But here and if you recall, we talked about some of those reflection questions to help you with that left side page. So what we're going to do is on page 2, which is that left-hand side, we're going to write those reflection questions. So again, just so that the information is there, just to help us remember what that left side is about. So, what are you curious about? What would you like to test if it was an experiment? What was the main idea? What are the important details? How does this relate? And again, what don't you understand? If there is something you don't understand, you need to make sure you write that down so you know to ask your teacher about it. Okay, so here are those questions. Again, go ahead and press pause so that you have a chance to write those questions down. And here are just some examples of what some other students have done in the past. Now, our input, what the teacher has given you, and you can see here the teacher has written down some notes or given notes to the student. You can see the student, as they were working through the notes, underlined, colored, labeled. That's fantastic. And look at their output, a great picture of that food web, how energy is flowing through the environment. This is what your left side should look like. Colorful pictures, writing, anything that helps you understand that material better. Here's another example. Again, whatever the teacher has given you goes on that right-hand side. Your interpretation, how you have processed that information, goes on the left. Here's another example. The teacher had the students doing a foldable with the different types of sources of energy. And we can see here that the student took that and turned it into a concept map. This one specifically is called Fishbones. And so we can see how they took the teacher information and converted it into something that they understood better. Okay, just a few examples of some graphic organizers to help you organize your thoughts. Fishbones, a Venn diagram, maybe just a simple T-chart, a net, a wheel, and a tree. Okay, so now that your interactive notebook is set up and ready, you are ready to get started with science. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions, please make sure you ask your teacher first thing in the morning.